Welcome back to Whisper Hex. Let me ask you something. When a plane lands and every passenger steps off, how sure are you that everyone actually leaves? Because tonight's story begins with a routine flight. Clear weather, smooth descent, no emergency calls, no distress signals, just Flight 402 touching down like it had done 100 times before. But when the final passenger count was confirmed, something didn't add up. According to the manifest, Seat 27A was still occupied. According to the tarmac crew, the plane was empty. No missing person report. No security footage of someone staying behind. No body found on board. Just a discrepancy. One name, one seat, and an aircraft that refused to feel empty. This is the story of why the last passenger on Flight 402 never actually left the plane. And why, even now, the engines don't sound mechanical anymore. They sound like something else. The manifest error. It started with paperwork. After every commercial flight, the passenger count is cross-checked with disembarkation scans. Standard procedure. But Flight 402's final report showed 183 boarded, and only 182 exited. Security assumed it was a clerical mistake, maybe a double scan, maybe a missed barcode, until they checked the cabin cameras. Every passenger walked off, except the footage from row 27 glitched. Not cut, not corrupted. It stuttered like interference, and when the frame stabilized, Seat 27A was empty, but the seatbelt was still fastened, tight, as if someone were still sitting there. Maintenance crews were sent in. They found nothing unusual. No blood, no damage, no hidden compartments. But several technicians reported something strange. The air inside the cabin felt thick, like it hadn't depressurized properly, like the plane was still holding its breath. The first signs 3 days later. Engineers reviewing the aircraft's black box data discovered something impossible. At 18,000 feet during descent, the cargo hold sensors recorded rhythmic vibration, not turbulence, not mechanical stress, a pattern. 68 beats per minute, then 72, then 90. It looked exactly like a rising human heart rate. They assumed it was instrument interference, but then it happened again on the next flight, and the next, always during descent. Always from the lower fuselage, like something down there was reacting to the loss of altitude, reacting to pressure change, reacting like a body would. Structural haunting. By February 2026, maintenance reports became impossible to ignore. Technicians inspecting the inner hull found discoloration along the titanium ribs beneath row 27, not rust, not corrosion, organic striations, vein-like patterns spreading through the insulation. Samples were taken. And that's when the horror began. The lab report didn't show metal contamination. It showed collagen, human protein structures, embedded within the alloy, as if bone tissue had fused into the airframe itself. One engineer quit on the spot after saying something that ended up in an internal memo. It's not growing on the plane. It's growing as the plane. The anatomy of fusion. The official explanation, never released publicly, suggested an unknown chemical anomaly during descent. High-altitude radiation exposure, electrostatic discharge, rapid pressurization shifts. But insiders whispered something else. They believed Seat 27A's passenger experienced a rare biological reaction during descent. Cells destabilized, molecular bonds disrupted, and instead of decomposing, they integrated, fused at a structural level. The nervous system threaded through wiring conduits, marrow replacing hydraulic fluid in secondary control lines, microscopic neural tissue woven into the avionics grid. It sounds impossible, but consider this. Modern aircraft are pressurized metal lungs. They expand and contract with altitude. They flex, they breathe, and something inside Flight 402 began breathing with it. The living air from epaulets began reporting auditory anomalies. During engine spool-up, a faint harmonic overtone appeared beneath the turbine whine. Audio engineers isolated it. The frequency matched a human scream, stretched, distorted, looped infinitely. Cabin pressure logs showed micro fluctuations during flight. Not enough to alarm passengers, but enough to resemble panic breathing. Inhale, sharp drop. Exhale, recovery, again and again, as if the fuselage itself had become a pressurized lung refusing to exhale its final breath. The cover-up internal airline memos labeled the issue as biological contamination. They ordered routine cleaning. sealant injections, structural replacement. But when mechanics attempted to remove rivets beneath row 27, their tools snapped. Drill bits dulled instantly. The metal had hardened around calcified organic growth. Bone density scans confirmed it. There were structures inside the fuselage with the density of cortical bone, integrated, unremovable without dismantling the aircraft entirely. So they grounded Flight 402, officially for mechanical review, unofficially because nobody wanted to fly inside something partially human. But here's the problem. Even powered down in storage, the aircraft remained warm. Thermal cameras showed residual heat in the cargo bay. No external power source, no battery charge, just slow, steady warmth, like body temperature. Deep in the sun-scorched expanse of an aircraft boneyard, surrounded by the skeletal remains of aviation history, sits Flight 402. You won't find its airline logo or its tail number. All identifying marks have been sandblasted away, leaving a blank, ghostly white fuselage baking under the desert sky. Its powerful engines are sealed tight, silent forever. Its sophisticated navigation systems are dark, the wires cut, the screens lifeless. It's just another dead machine, a monument to journeys completed and an era gone by. Or is it? Former ground crew who patrol these lonely acres of metal and memory tell a different story. They speak in hushed tones, often glancing over their shoulders as if the desert itself has ears. They swear that on the darkest, most moonless nights, something strange happens out by the old 747. A faint, ethereal glow emanates from the cockpit. It's not a reflection, not a trick of the light. It's a soft, pulsating flicker, like a dying ember. And if you get close enough, they say, you can see coordinates materializing on the screens. Not for JFK, or Heathrow, or any airport known to man. The coordinates point to nothing but endless open ocean. A desolate spot in the middle of the Pacific, thousands of miles from any runway. It's as if the plane is still flying, still searching for a place to land. As if it never completed its final descent. As if someone, or something, is still on board, trapped in a perpetual approach to a destination that doesn't exist. One retired technician, a man with 40 years of experience and a reputation for being pragmatic, shared a story he'd kept to himself for years. During a quiet night shift, a stillness so profound you could hear your own heartbeat, he found himself standing beneath the massive wing of Flight 402. He felt a strange vibration through the soles of his boots. It wasn't the wind, which was still that night. It wasn't the metal groaning as it cooled in the night air. It was a pulse, slow, deep, and unnervingly persistent. Thump, thump, thump. Compelled by a mix of curiosity and dread, he reached out and placed his palm flat against the cold metal of the fuselage. And then he felt it. A gentle pressure pushing back against his hand. It wasn't forceful, but it was deliberate. It was unmistakable. It felt responsive, like something inside recognized his touch, like a sleeping giant stirring in its slumber. He snatched his hand back, his heart pounding, and never went near that plane alone again. What was inside? The terrifying truth is far stranger than any ghost story. We know that metal holds stress, that it has a kind of memory, retaining the forces exerted upon it over years of flight. We know that structures, places, can hold the memory of events, an echo of strong emotions. But Flight 402 held something else entirely. On its final, fateful journey, there was a passenger who didn't get off the plane. A name on the manifest with no one to claim it. They didn't step onto the jet bridge. They didn't wait for their luggage at the carousel. They didn't vanish into the bustling crowds of the terminal. They simply remained, because the plane didn't let them go. In the final moments of that flight, something went wrong. Not a mechanical failure, but a metaphysical one. The aircraft itself, this complex machine of wires and metal, did something impossible. It consumed a soul. It converted the final passenger's breath into cabin pressure. It folded their very essence into its structure, turning bone into rivets and flesh into insulation. Their heartbeat became that slow, persistent vibration humming through the airframe. The integration was total, a horrifying fusion of man and machine. And as long as the metal of Flight 402 remains intact, that integration remains. The passenger and the plane are one. This is why the coordinates flicker on the screen, a phantom memory of a journey that can't end. It's why the pulse continues, a captured heart still beating within a metal ribcage. This means Flight 402 isn't truly grounded. It's suspended. It is locked in an eternal state of descent, forever approaching a runway it can never reach. Its engines, though silent to our ears, are screaming in frequencies only the most sensitive equipment and perhaps the most sensitive souls can detect. It's not a haunting in the traditional sense. It's a biological infection embedded in titanium skin. The ghost isn't in the machine. The ghost is the machine. So the next time you're on a flight, settled into your window seat, watching the world shrink below you, the next time you feel that familiar vibration humming up through the floor, through your feet, and into your bones, ask yourself a question. Is it just a normal shudder of the engines, the slight turbulence of passing through a cloud? Or is it something else? Is it the echo of a forgotten passenger, locked inside the fuselage with you, still trying, after all these years, to finally land? If this story sent a chill down your spine, please hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And tell me, would you ever dare to fly on a plane if you knew there was a missing passenger on the manifest? Because here, some flights never truly reach their final destination. Thanks for watching.